The Joe Rogan Experience.
And I think that things have grown into, not that I wanted to talk about this or I even thought about it before, but the money thing is a very interesting thing to me, you know. And if you want to take it back to the book, which we can talk about later,
money
it's
is
like the anti-celebrity. It's like, how do you stay grounded?
Yeah.
How do you stay accountable? And why would you stay accountable? Because I actually give a fuck about people instead of just being in it for myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference.
Well, I think one of the things that happens to people with money is you didn't have money when you were young. Now all of a sudden you have money and you get really scared about losing that money.
Take it away.
Yeah, you get scared it's going to go away because now you realize, oh my God, it's so much better to not have to worry about your bills and it's so much better to have some money to buy things.
Yeah, totally.
And then you start thinking only about money and you start making decisions only for money. Yeah. And then you go down the weird road. Yeah. And it, you know, really distorts artists. It fucks a lot of people up.
Yeah.
You know, you see it in a lot of bands. They start making like poppy songs when they used to be like raw and gritty when they were younger. It used to be like authentic, and then all of a sudden they're making like theme songs for films. It's like weird fucking romance songs.
For rom-coms.
Like Aerosmith went through a bunch of that shit.
Totally.
Where to me, as an Aerosmith, you know, lover as a kid, to see them, you know, go from like Dream On to like the shit they were.
Now, and I wonder with like drug addiction and all that, I wonder if that's like, if the parallel is I went back to heroin at that point because I just couldn't fucking deal. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's when they get off heroin and they start wanting to make money. And they're like, how can I don't know. I need to make some money. I spent all my fucking money.
But look I wonder if there's any connection like with, remember Philip Seymour Hoffman, like one of the greatest actors that ever lived. And I've known his mother since I was doing theater in Rochester, New York. It was like a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, and she would come up to me and she said, I think you're a fine actor. And I go, oh, thank you very much. And she goes, you know, my son just moved to New York. He wants to be an actor. And I said, oh, well, what's his name? Phil. Phil's his name. Oh, well, tell Phil good luck. Good luck to Phil. And you know, it's like anybody who wants to be an actor, just the odds of it happening is just not going to happen. And then Phil became this guy, 22 years of sobriety, who had an inkling in the beginning and said, you know what, I don't want this to control like my thing, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give everything I am to acting, and I'm going to try to make the best career, theater career, movie career, whatever. And then, you know, and I have it in the book where I see him on the street and I'm crazy and I've gotten into a fight with my wife and I'm walking down Columbus Avenue and I have cords on, I have no shoes, I have no shirt. On my way, I'm out of my fucking head, and I look to my left, and I see Nick Nolte at a cafe, and we lock eyes, and I've never met Nick Nolte, I've never seen him, and it will happen that I actually will have a relationship with him later on, but we lock eyes, and the moment is he's seeing in me what he used to be, or seeing in me what I'm to become. I'm seeing in him what I'm to become later, right?
Right.
Then I see Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's standing there talking. I go, hey, Phil! It's Josh! What's up? You're doing so well, man. Fuck, good for you, dude.
No shirt.
No shirt, no shoes. And he's standing there with one foot pointed toward me and another foot pointed in the direction that he wants to go. You know how people stand there and they're like, good to see you, man.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, good. Good.
Oh, no.
Now, how is that the guy that died of a heroin overdose?
Did he get injured?
No.
No? He just got back on it? Because sometimes what happens is people get injured.
I know, and they have surgery, and then they have back, and then they get on
I know quite a few people
Oxycontin. Me too. I know a lot of people that's kind of been the trajectory.
No back pain, nothing?
To me, there's another parallel, and the parallel is I just want to make money, finally. I'm sick of doing independence. I'm sick of doing this and not making any money. And then you start doing, you know, whatever he was, Hunger Games.
And then you feel hollow. And then you want to fill yourself.
We were talking about before.
Right. You want to numb yourself up because you feel like a whore.
You feel like a whore.
Yeah.
It's like there's one thing about like actually finding solace and saying, hey, man, I'm older. I'm going to do this movie. I get it. I would like, you know, I got college coming up for my kids, and you justify it in a way that's okay. And then there's one thing about you've identified yourself so much as an artist that to release yourself from that identity in other people's minds, again, going back to the ego, that it just fucks you up.
Right.
You just can't deal.
And then you want to escape from your reality.
Exactly.
Yeah, you want to numb yourself. Yeah. Well, that is a real fucking thing, man. And if you've ever done a project where it's like really, I did a really bad sitcom once, And I remember
That you acted in?
Oh yeah, it was terrible. And I remember while I was doing it, I was just imagining, like, what if this is my life? What if this stupid piece of shit sitcom goes for like 10 years?
10 years,
and I have to keep, because there's sitcoms that inexplicably are very successful, or were in the 90s.
Yeah.
And very successful, and they were terrible.
Terrible.
They're terrible.
But people love them.
Well, people want to be
It's like
numb.
eating ice cream.
They just want to slack jaw,
Yeah.
sit in front of the computer or whatever, the TV, and eat SpaghettiOs, and just fucking numb themselves to some mundane bullshit.
yeah.
And if you're doing that kind of a thing, you live in hell.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people that do those things, they wind up doing drugs because they just feel very
But
lost.
if you do that and you live in hell.
Yeah, you live in hell.
Which it is,
Yeah.
to me,
It
to
sounds
you.
crazy to a person listening. Oh, you're making $50,000 a week. How are you living? You're living in hell. Like, what are you talking about?
No.
Most
That's
people
not
would be
the
like,
point.
that's great. That would be amazing. But if you want to do a thing, if like you want to be a great comic or you want to be a great actor, and you're doing,
You have to have incentive.
Right. You have to want to create something really good.
Right.
And when you can't create something really good and you're just doing it for money, you feel trapped and you feel like shit. And then you have to reward yourself for this stupid fucking thing you do.
Yeah.
So what do? You go out and buy a nice Mercedes. You get a fucking house in Malibu. Now you have a large monthly nut that you have to cover. But when you take people over your house, like, look how I'm living.
Yeah.
Look at this ocean view.
Yeah.
Come on.
How much of this house do
Not
you use?
bad.
Nothing.
Yeah.